So you're getting some apples from somebody at the market, or sometimes if it's a friend, you pay market relationship. You can't just walk up and take apples. So you pay money and that closes the circle. Well, I don't know who you are, you don't know who I am, but here's some of this money, now that's good, that's how it works. So people have thought about barter as an alternative to money. So I've got some jam, and those look like good apples. How much are you going to get us? It means I'm living in Bangladesh, and there's a lot more barter and negotiation goes on. You realise, well, this is up for grabs, but selling seems like the reverse of buying. Again, when you get the cash, that ends the relationship. So look at those two. We have buying and selling. You put those two together, and you're giving money, but you're getting it back. And does that equal barter? Well, it looks a bit like it does in terms of flow of goods, because the money flows around once, but it ends up where it started. So what I'd like to suggest is that buying and selling has a little price tag attached, and we don't often think about it. If we're using money, you've got to pay rent on that money. Why do we pay rent on money? Well, the money is created as debt. Money is created by the financial system for interest. They don't give it away. They lend it to us, and we try and make money. They call that forgery, some other crime. So you borrow it and you pay it back with interest. Where does that interest come from? Where can that interest come from? Because we're not allowed to make money. Well, I can get it off him, and where does he get it from? As a group, we need more money from the bankers next year or next month. So we are perpetually in debt. So if it seems like 1%, 2%, you think, well, hey, that's not a great deal. If there's 1% that you haven't got, then you're going to lose your house or whatever collateral you put up for that debt. So that's a problem of dealing with money. Now let's look at another way that two people could interact. They could give things to one another. And sharing food is the canonical act of altruism. You've just killed a mammoth, and you're feeling hungry, but that's a lot of mammoth. So you could store, this is a tribe who talked about storing food in the belly of their brother. Just like, well, that food is going to go to waste. So it's like, let's all have a massive feast, and actually, for you meat eaters out there, that's a healthier way to eat meat. Just a little bit of meat every so often, or even a lot of meat every so often, that's better. Now, I'm not talking about vegetarian here. Giving things back. I mean, even animals of different species have long-standing relationships where they do favours for one another. Now, maybe an economist would say, oh, they're only doing that because they've worked out they're going to get something back if they do. Well, that's one way to look at it. Or you could say altruism is a natural reaction. And if somebody does you a favour, it's not that you haven't learned economics, it's just a healthy reaction to think, what can I do to help that person out? So, what I'd like to suggest here is there's an important difference between barter and giving and getting something back. If you look at it on one level, well, you've got a gift there, and maybe somebody takes those apples, makes some jam with them. It looks similar. What's the difference? Well, it happens at different times. That's very convenient if you don't happen to have all your goods ready. For example, someone's going to give you something and you're going to do something with it and give it back. But you can't barter that. What's the key difference there? In the bartering world, you're thinking, what's the most I can get for this? You're behaving differently, you're thinking differently. And in the world of giving, you're just giving. Now, would you rather have some jam that you bartered for, or some jam that somebody had given you? Well, it does depend who and why, but a barter is like two gifts. There's a time difference, but without the trust. Because if I really trusted you, I could just give you something, and then if you had something to give it back, you would give it back to me. So, I mean, just to underline this, what about if two people stole things from each other, it just happened that way, or gave things to each other? Well, if you're taking a materialistic view, the same transaction has taken place, those goods have swapped. But if you're thinking about the relationships, you're thinking about how it will make people feel, it's a world apart. Now this is a big problem, because our economic system doesn't have much of a way of dealing with relationships or feelings. If you're in charge, maybe you're in charge of a multinational, and you want to do the right thing for the world, and you want to be a nice guy. If you're looking at you're looking at all the branches, you're looking through a spreadsheet. You're looking at things in mathematical terms. Now, where does maths come into this? As we know it, economics has got nothing much to say about this. Just to underline the point about what a strange way economics has of twisting our ideas about what's profitable, does anybody know what Intel did with the 486DX chip and a little bit of electricity? No?
Make a cooking plate.
No. They would have done if they got plenty. They couldn't sell them for much. Well, I guess they did in a little way. They made the maths coprocessor into a cooking plate. They found a way they could just use electricity on their chips, and that would increase the value. They blew the maths coprocessor up, thus differentiating their product so they could adjust the prices and get different markets. So the people who weren't going to pay a lot of money could get the cheap version, the SX, without the coprocessor. So they're actually destroying, never mind the environment, never mind cutting down rainforests that they don't own, they're destroying their own products in the name of profitability. And this is a well-known strategy. And this is one example, but it's all over. People whose idea of what it is to be profitable, that's linked to what it is to be successful, is highly destructive. So, the larger picture, if you could get some software and find somebody, you need somebody to do something for you, you can pay them is not quite the right word, but it would be common economy. You can say thank you, you credit them without money, and sometimes people would come to you and request you to do things. You wouldn't take money from them because you didn't need money. Using this system, that's the larger picture of how individual gifts could work. So, how would that look? This is just a very simple idea. You'd be navigate something, say you're interested in apples, and you'd say, okay, how many apples? Let's say you wanted 2 kilos. Then these people could offer you apples. Now, there's nuances here. that could be a friend of a friend of a friend, but it would always be, according to the software I proposed, somebody who is related to you by a social connection. So don't think marketplace, don't think this guy's trying to cheat you. Think a friend of a friend's just turned up and he happens to have a load of apples. Well, yeah, he could cheat you, but it wouldn't really work well for him. So, if you had a lot of apples, who is there who wants apples? So, the software, if you just were going to get this from your friends, you could just ask your friends. And you would know, okay, he's likely to want apples at this time, or he's an apple farmer, sure he's got apples. So that would be without any assistance from software. I could pick up my cell phone, and I could ring, and I could say, well, it's really urgent, can you ask your friends as well? And if it was really urgent, they might. But if we all did that, we'd spend our lives on the phone, ringing our friends, asking them things. Well, why not get software to do that? Because computers are pretty good at that sort of thing. So, if you've got a request that could go from friend to friend to friend, somebody matches that request. They previously said, yes, I've got some apples, they're going to last for this many days, they're available here, I'd like to give them to somebody, then you can get apples like that. So then you have to say thank you in this system,